Hey there, I'm Ken, this is Canadian Retro Things, and today I'm taking a walk through time. What do I mean I'm going to take a walk through time? Well, I'm going out for a walk today on a trail. It's a trail that goes all the way around the city of Port Coquitlam, and it is called the POCO Trail. Well, it goes around what used to be the outer ring of the city. The city's grown since then. But anyways, the part that I'm walking is about 10 kilometers. One of the nice things about that area is that it ends off on a part where they have a bunch of plaques up that tell the history of the area from like literally hundreds of thousands of years ago up to the present. So I'm going to walk part of the trail and I'm going to end off with those plaques. And here we are at the end of Prairie Avenue. There's a little parking lot here. We're going to be walking over right behind me here to the POCO Trail. So let's take a look at my phone and see how many steps I've taken so far today so we can measure exactly how far I am walking today. There we go. And now we are going to be walking. So let's go. And walking along the trail, you have an absolutely beautiful view going north up the Pitt River towards Pitt Lake and all of the mountains that are up there, snow-capped and all. And here we are at the end of our walk along Pitt River. And right over here you can see the very mouth of where we are going, which will be down there, which is Deboville Slough. And a couple of giant mansions right behind us. How the other half lives. So we're about to take this corner and continue walking into the city now. One thing about it, I've never walked this part of the path before. I'm maybe 100 meters down the path from the Pitt River here on Deboville Slough. And there is a little marina. It's obviously for smaller boats because this is not a very wide piece of water, but it's interesting because I did not know there was a little marina here. Boats are always something I've been very interested in ever since I was a little kid. I always wanted maybe a 28 or 32 foot little cabin cruiser to be able to go out on the ocean, sightsee, do a little fishing. As a matter of fact, it's when I was a kid and saw the show Riptide, it was the very first time I ever had the inclination that you could own a boat like that and actually live on it. And it's something I've always wanted to do. Unfortunately, I'll probably never be able to afford it, so yeah, it's a dream. One of the things that I do find interesting is that when the POCO Trail would have been built, this would have been basically the north end of Port Coquitlam. And now you can see the houses going all the way up the side of the mountain. That's a few kilometers up there of growth. One of the things I definitely like about these little walks is the nature, and although I cannot see them, I hope my microphone is picking up the fact that the frogs over in this little swampy area on the other side of the path are singing up a storm. And here we have reached the end of Deboville Slough. So we are now going to be walking more through the city, although a lot of it is parks. As you can see, there is the end of Deboville Slough. And we're going to be crossing the road over here and continuing along the side of a creek. This right here is where we'll be following the creek. We are now entering the Hyde Creek Park. And now, just because I can, I am going to take a look and see how this looks from underwater. It's nice to have a camera that can do that. Here's another area where you have a choice of which way to go. Of course, I am going to continue following the POCO Trail, which is down this way. I am going to be walking down some streets now till I hit the next park. But there's something very interesting behind me, so let's go take a few shots of that. This is the Hyde Creek Education Center and Hatchery. It's one of the very important salmon hatcheries that we have in the area. So there is a pond here where they raise some fish. They raise salmon up right from hatching to when they're old enough to put into the river for them to swim down to the ocean. And as we cross this street, we are going back into a park, Wellington Park. And we'll continue our walk on the POCO Trail through some wooded areas. So when you're walking down the POCO Trail, there's definitely a lot of side trails you can check out. But we've got a mission for today, and we are going to continue going down the POCO Trail. This should be the last road we have to cross before we get to the Coquitlam River and start heading south. So we're almost over by the Coquitlam River. In this park right here, there are a number of little ponds, just like the one behind me, that are fish spawning ponds. Here we are at the Coquitlam River. So, I'm in Port Coquitlam right now, and just across the river right there is Coquitlam. One of the other things that I like about walking on these trails like this is it's so easy to completely forget that really you're only a few meters away from civilization. You forget it. You think that you're out in the mountains walking through the woods, and yet you're only this far away from people's houses. And now we come to the Highway 7 bridge, where we go under it. And on the other side, we come out into Lions Park. Lions Park is a nice little park that has a great playground for kids, a nice picnic area, but most importantly, this is where our little trip through time begins. So these plaques are placed along the POCO Trail all the way from Lions Park to Gates Park, giving you a history of the area through time. I'll flip through these quickly. If you want to read them, then you can pause the video. But I would suggest you take a trip to Port Coquitlam. Do this walk. Look at them yourself. You are now in downtown Port Coquitlam. It's a beautiful downtown that has a very small town feel to it. Now that we're in downtown Port Coquitlam, we come across a few more of the placards, which I'll flip through here. Again, you can pause to read them, or come and see them yourself. If you come to the Vancouver area, it's about a 45-minute to an hour SkyTrain ride out to the Coquitlam, Port Coquitlam area. And we have now made it into the 1900s with these plaques. And there is a few more to go. We're almost all the way through downtown Port Coquitlam now, and soon be entering Gates Park, where we are going to finish up the video today. And now with this plaque, we have reached the middle of the 20th century. Only another 70 years to go, and we are up to date on this little travel through time. And with this plaque, we reach the end of the 20th century, and we are moving into the 21st century. So we are almost done our little trip through time of Port Coquitlam. And here we have reached Gates Park, the end of the journey. Sort of. Let's take a look at how many steps I did today. That's an awful lot of steps. Actually, the actual distance I walked was just a little bit under 10 kilometers, but all of the backtracking for shots and walking back and forth and going off the path added a lot of time and a lot of distance. And I think because I took that many steps, I deserve a treat. So I'm going to backtrack down the trail a little bit back to downtown Port Coquitlam, and I am going to hit the best Southern barbecue restaurant and microbrewery in the area. And there is our destination, Patina Brewing Company. I'm ending my journey with a cold beer and a hot sandwich. So if you're in downtown Port Coquitlam, I do recommend Patinas for some good food and good beer. Not sponsored, just my opinion. I hope you enjoyed coming on this little walk with me today, and if you've made it this far in the video, I just want to remind you that if you've not done so, a like, a comment, and subscribing to the channel are all things that are greatly appreciated and help me out a lot. If you do subscribe to the channel, you can see me take more little journeys like this, as well as play with, fix, and learn about all kinds of retro computers, games, and other things. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.